Okay. Hi. So yesterday, when I posted that assignment on expository writing, I had a lot of questions come up, but I had not planned to show you a PowerPoint or to go through that. That doesn't matter. I have one now. So if you felt overwhelmed, if you know what you're doing, great. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you. And if you felt overwhelmed, that's okay. I created a PowerPoint that I think will assist you in becoming much more comfortable with this material. Let me turn my screen around. If I can remember how to do that. Oh, there we are. And I'm going to share my screen with you briefly. And I'm going to go through a set of slides. A set of slides that I think would help. Okay. So I'm just going to present this to you briefly. Basically, an expository essay is just explaining something. And one of the ways that you explain things is by organizing your thoughts ahead of time. So brainstorming out your thesis and your two topic sentences are key. The prompt that you've been given is to explain the major theme in Daedalus and Icarus, pages 53 through 56, and to use at least two specific pieces of text evidence to prove your point. Now, this right here, two pieces of text evidence, that's showing you your two body paragraphs. It goes on to say your response should contain a thesis statement in the introductory paragraph, two body paragraphs, and remember those are your text evidence, with topic sentences and citation of text evidence and a restatement of the thesis in the conclusion. And I'll go over more of that in a second. The citations that you have should state specific words, or you paraphrase the scenario from the story and just indicate which paragraph the information is found in. There are two ways that you can format your text evidence for me. You can either do like example number 1 and write your statement and then put it in parentheses, what paragraph it's found in, or like example number 2, you can actually write in paragraph 34 or in paragraph 27 or wherever you found it, and you can use that in your writing and not have to use parentheses. It's really up to you. In your introduction, you need to have a hook, a transition sentence usually, and then your thesis. Your thesis should restate the prompt and then give your two reasons why. So if we go back, your thesis is to explain a major theme, the major theme in Daedalus and Icarus. And your two responses should deal with your text evidence. If you're struggling with a hook, I created a link here where you can go and look at the AQQS examples, an anecdote, or just a quick story. Like, I remember back when I was 16 years old, when my mother told me, listen to your elders or there will be consequences, if that's what your mom really said. I don't want you to confuse anecdote and antidote, so I'm going to stop right here and say that an antidote saves people's lives if they get an illness. An anecdote is just a story. So if you give a person who is quite ill an anecdote, they will probably die. So don't get those two words confused. You could save lives. Okay. Another thing you can do is to ask a question. And if you ask a question, I do think it is one of the weakest, but one way I've seen it done well, if we're going to do it, is to ask 3 questions in a row. It seems that repetition increases the effectiveness of that hook. You could also give a quote. There cannot be true democracy unless women's voices are heard, and then say who it's from. And then you can go on to explain, and that's your transition word, explaining what that hook means to the thesis. And then a statement of intrigue or an unusual or bizarre fact, just random factoids that get the reader's attention, and you can explain how it connects to your thesis later. Real quickly, I wanted to go up to the top here. Not only should your hook serve to immediately grab the reader's interest, but it should be a natural lead into your thesis. It's one of those meaningful opportunities for the reader to relate to the topic of your essay. So that is the point of your hook, is to draw your reader in. The body paragraphs, oops, I went one too far. Oh, I guess I didn't. Oops. The body paragraphs, they restate the prompt and they give one of your two reasons, and then your text evidence and an explanation of how the text evidence is actually proving your point. In body paragraph number 1, I used the 3 little pigs as an example. So let's say I was trying to use this same prompt, but with the story of the 3 little pigs. My first topic sentence would be to show my first piece of text evidence as to how I understand the theme of the 3 little pigs to be. So here's my example. And in the first one, we're restating the prompt and giving a reason. Then we're finding text evidence and then explaining how that is actually proving your point. The theme of the 3 little pigs is displayed through the third pig's dedication to hard work. That restates the prompt about theme, and it gives my first reason. In line 25, the third little pig makes a sincere effort in building his house, even traveling farther to find better building materials. There's my text evidence or my proof. I give the line number, and you can also do that, but I think paragraph is easier in Daedalus and Icarus. Now we're looking at the explanation of how text evidence is actually proving this point. The fact that the third little pig says, "I will journey farther than my brothers to find greater happiness," proves that he is dedicated to hard work. This also displays the theme that hard work will result in greater happiness in the future. My second body paragraph would look very similar. I would say something like, the second reason that the theme of the 3 little pigs is dedicated to explaining how hard work pays off in the end is, and then I would just give more descriptions and more text evidence. In your conclusion, you're going to restate your thesis, but it's helpful if you reorganize that thesis so that you're not just copying and pasting the same idea. You can flip it around. Whereas in the introduction, we had a restatement of the prompt plus 2 reasons. Well, in your conclusion, you'll have 2 reasons, and then you'll restate the prompt. So for the 3 little pigs, for instance, you would say, the third little pig's dedication to hard work and the wolf's dedication to getting what he wanted in the end are both reasons that the theme of the 3 little pigs is hard work and dedication pays off in the end. Now, this would only work if in the story of the 3 little pigs, the wolf actually did catch the pig in the end. But the point is, you have 2 reasons, and you're going back to that prompt, that main idea about the theme. When it says, why should society care? What I'm talking about is a life lesson. And you have, in the packet I gave you at the beginning of the year, you have a list of themes. Why does it matter to listen to your elders? Or why does it matter to think before you leap? Why should people understand that actions have consequences? Any of these ideas that are in Daedalus and Icarus, you should explain why society should care here in the conclusion. Now, can you put it up in the introduction? Absolutely. That could be one of your transition sentences. I really appreciate that you were working so hard yesterday, and I appreciate the hard work that you're giving today. I'm going to explain this more in the future. But your expository essay should be about 4 paragraphs in length. You should have your introduction with a hook and a thesis and a transition sentence in the middle if needed. You should have 1 body paragraph where you describe your first point, provide the text evidence, and then bridge the gap between your statement and the text evidence. You should have a second body paragraph where you restate the prompt and the second reason, and you give some more text evidence and explain then how that text evidence is actually proving your point. And then you should have a conclusion where you restate the thesis, but in a different way, and you explain why society should care. If you need a transition sentence in between, if it seems too choppy, then you can go ahead and add that. But I'm looking for you to answer this prompt. Explain the major theme in Daedalus and Icarus, and use at least 2 specific pieces of text evidence to prove your point. I hope this was helpful. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me and let me know. I want to make sure that this is not something that's so overwhelming of a task that you give up. The best thing is for you to try. Do your very best. Organize your ideas as best you can. If you group them by paragraph, you can see what you're missing more easily. I'm totally fine with you asking for help from parents at home, from siblings, or from kids here at school if you need it. I've got your back. Don't give up, and I'll see you tomorrow.